Suzanne, a sweet, modest young woman who has never been in a relationship, goes to the doctor for a routine checkup. To her shock, the doctor informs her that she's pregnant. Confused and alarmed, she insists it's impossible. Suzanne, with a mix of disbelief and confusion, sits in the sterile doctor's office. The doctor looks nervous, holding a report while Suzanne clutches her hands tightly in disbelief. The doctor explains that a file mix-up during a medical procedure resulted in Suzanne being implanted with an embryo using the sperm of a client who stored it at the clinic. That client is none other than the ultra-rich, jaw-droppingly handsome Mr. Armin. Illustration prompt. A montage-like image showing Suzanne reacting in shock while a folder labeled Mr. Armin sits prominently on the desk. A hint of luxury in the background, like Mr. Armin's name in a high-profile file, foreshadows his status. Suzanne is asked to meet the biological father, Mr. Armin. She's escorted to his luxurious penthouse, where she's overwhelmed by the wealth and opulence surrounding her. Mr. Armin is breathtakingly handsome, with piercing eyes and a commanding presence, but he's also polite and curious about Suzanne. Illustration prompt. A grand penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows showing a sparkling city skyline. Suzanne, dressed simply, looks shy and uncertain as she stands in front of Mr. Armin, who exudes confidence in a tailored suit. Mr. Armin insists on supporting Suzanne through the pregnancy, arranging for her to move into a guest house on his estate. During their time together, they start to bond. Mr. Armin's protective side emerges, while Suzanne finds herself drawn to his warmth and vulnerability beneath his confident exterior. Illustration. Prompt. Suzanne and Mr. Armin in a garden at dusk, walking side by side. Suzanne looks hesitant, yet intrigued, while Mr. Armin glances at her with a soft smile. Fairy lights and blooming flowers create a magical atmosphere. One evening, Suzanne and Mr. Armin share a heartfelt conversation about their fears and dreams. A spark of mutual attraction becomes undeniable, and Mr. Armin starts seeing Suzanne as more than just the carrier of his child. Suzanne finds herself conflicted by her feelings for him. Suzanne and Mr. Armin sitting by a crackling fireplace. Suzanne, wearing a cozy sweater, gazes thoughtfully into the flames while Mr. Armin looks at her, his expression revealing admiration and tenderness. As Suzanne's pregnancy progresses, Mr. Armin begins to care deeply for her well-being. He accompanies her to appointments, cooks meals for her, and even talks to the baby. Suzanne starts to feel like they are becoming a family. A softly lit scene in a nursery where Suzanne sits on a rocking chair, visibly pregnant, while Mr. Armin kneels beside her, his hand gently resting on her